We are currently in the townhouse at Mill Hill Historic Park in Norwalk, Connecticut. This is the first time we are presenting the bell ringing ceremony on Facebook Live. This year, July 4th is very different from previous years. So much has happened in the last 6 months. Not only are we feeling the societal and economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, but our nation's history is the subject of hard and uncomfortable conversations around equity, diversity, and inclusion. For 244 years, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence. It became a national holiday in 1941. In 1776, not everyone got to celebrate the joy of independence. Most Black people in the colonies at this time were enslaved, and Native Americans had been conquered. At the time of our nation's independence from England, only white male landowners were enfranchised with the right to vote, and with our economy dependent on the labor of enslaved peoples. Nobody made this point more eloquently than the renowned abolitionist Frederick Douglass and his famous 1852 speech, The Meaning of July 4th for the Negro. Black men were not granted the right to vote until the 15th Amendment was ratified in 1870, and women could not vote until the 19th Amendment became law in 1920. And even with the passage of the Voting Rights Act in 1965, people of color continue to be discriminated against in our electoral processes today. Today is a good time to take a moment and reflect on the meaning and promise of the United States of America as a nation with the rights and responsibilities of its citizens, as a free and independent people with equal rights for all. Now, I'm going to ask our board president, Joanne Schultz, to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to ask Senator Bob Duff to come up and say a few words. Senator Duff.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you everybody who is here today, virtually, or our small group here in person. I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in and to our annual bell ringing celebration that we really had every year. It's always been a lot of fun, and really it's an important milestone and commemoration for us here in the city of Norwalk. Remember last year was really a wonderful celebration that we had that drew really a large audience, and unfortunately this year we cannot have that. But nonetheless, it's still important for us to mark this day in a city that has such historical roots in our Revolutionary War. I wanted just to echo a little bit of what Diane had mentioned as well, the fact that as we work during these difficult times with COVID-19 and the after effects of the killing of George Floyd, we want to make sure that we continue to work towards a more perfect union, where all men and all women are created equal, where we work together in harmony and we work to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to succeed and to thrive in America. And so as we celebrate our independence today, we remember our history, the fact that we are living in a free country, but it is a country that has not been perfect, but it is a country that strives towards justice and towards our better angels. And so as we celebrate and commemorate our 4th of July this year, let us think forward to new ideals, new heights, and to take the experiences that we've had most recently and in the past and further past, and build upon those days so that we can strive for that more perfect union. We are a country that is that shining hill in the world, and we want to make sure that we always work towards those ideals. So it's not always easy, it's not always clean, a lot of times it's very messy, and it's certainly not perfect. But I think if our hearts and our minds are in the right place, that we will always strive towards the better ideals that the United States of America stands for. So I want to thank the Norwalk Historical Society for always putting this together and ensuring that we commemorate the independence of our nation, and that we always remember not just those who may be in history books right now, but always remembering those who fought for our freedom, whether they are in the history books or not, and we remember everyone who's taken part in the building of this great country. So thank you again to Diane and Samantha and everybody else in the Historical Society.
Now I'd like to introduce our awesome town clerk, Rick McQuaid, who will read excerpts from the Declaration of Independence.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bob, and thank you for your words of hope and encouragement that you brought forth today to the Historical Society, Sam, and for bringing this all together. Today I will be reading an abridged form of the Declaration of Independence, and wish everyone the best and forth. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impelled them to this separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain rights that are among these in our life: liberty and the pursuit of happiness. That to the secure of these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That wherever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organize its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely the effects of safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And according to all experience has shown that mankind are most disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, that to the rights themselves by abolishing the form in which they are accustomed to. But when a long train of abuse, pursuing invariably the same objective evidence is designed to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injury and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to the candid world. He has refused to accept his laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and present importance, unless suspended in their operation till his ascension be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people who relinquish the rights of representation in the legislature are right to them and horrible to tyrants only. He has kept among us in times of peace, standing armies within the consent of our legislature. He has affected to render the military independent and of and superior to civil power. He has advocated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravages our coast, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at times transporting large armies of foreign to complete the work of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with a circumstance of cruelty and scarcely parallel to the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of civilization of nations. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of free people. Nor have we been wanting in the attention to our British brethren. We have appealed to their native justice, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to salve these usurpations. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assemble, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world, for our intention to do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and upright, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from our allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connections between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may have the right to do. And for the support of this declaration, and with a firm reliance on the protection of the divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Thank you, Rick. Next, we are going on to the reading of the 13 colonies in the bell tolling, and we're asking Senator Duff and Lucy Beckham, who's going to ring the bell, to do the honors.
Thank you. And thanks to our wonderful town clerk for reading that. It's always great to hear those words. Ready? Okay. Virginia, Jamestown. Massachusetts. New Hampshire. Maryland. The great state of Connecticut. Rhode Island. Delaware. North Carolina. South Carolina. New York. New Jersey. Pennsylvania. And Georgia.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the singing of the national anthem. The national anthem is going to be sung by Emily Moody, who's a rising senior at Brian McMahon High School, Center for Global Studies, and a voice student at Centenario Vocal Studios in Norwalk. Emily will now sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose
Thank you for all being here and enjoy.